Hello friends, welcome to StudyIQ. My name is Dr. Mahipal Singh Rathod, and in this video I will be discussing One China, Two Systems, the policy adopted for Hong Kong and Macau by China. So are these two different countries? Are they part of China? All such doubts will be settled in this video. Before beginning, let me tell you the geographical location of Hong Kong and Macau. So this is a map of Southeast Asia, and you can see this arrow pointing here. This is the region where Hong Kong and Macau is situated. So you can see it is in the southern part of China. This is China, and it is at a very strategic location because the inland areas, from there you can trade via these ports. Okay, so if you have port over here, you can trade from anywhere in the Pacific Ocean through the Straits of Malacca to India to Europe and throughout the Southeast Asia. So this is a very important location for a port for a city. As we zoom into this map, so you can see a better look here. This is Hong Kong and this is Macau. Small area, small islands, and Hong Kong is a large area. Okay, and another important city of China, that is Guangzhou. Okay, earlier it was named as Canton. It was called Canton, and these three cities are situated along the Pearl River. All three cities. This is very important. If you can, please remember this name, Pearl River. Okay, it is called as Pearl River Delta or estuary sometimes. So they are situated on the South China Sea, and the very important location is due to this Pearl River. Okay, all the trade that came in, all the trade went through this Pearl River inland. Okay, anything coming from outside, from Europe, went into China via this route, and anything coming from the inland areas going towards Europe or anywhere else in the world went over this Pearl River. So these three cities are very important, and that is the reason that Macau was colonized by the Portuguese. So it was under Portuguese control earlier, and this Hong Kong was under the control of Britain. Okay, so these were the two colonial powers under whose control these two regions were. This is a photograph of Macau. It is a very developed and developed city, and it is a big destination for tourists these days. And one of the major attractions is the casinos. It has the world's largest casino industry, Macau. It is larger than Las Vegas, many times larger than Las Vegas. On the other hand, Hong Kong today is one of the leading financial centers of Asia. Okay, many financial companies and big banks, corporations, they all have their headquarters in Hong Kong. They operate via Hong Kong. It has a very big economy, a very developed economy, and it is just like London. Okay, people sometimes equate it with London because London is a financial hub of the entire world, and Hong Kong is the financial hub of Asia. So you can see here the very famous night skyline of Hong Kong. It is famous for its skyscrapers. So coming to our major question, are these two, Hong Kong and Macau, are they separate countries? Are they sovereign countries? The answer to this question is no. They are what you call a special administrative region of China. So they are two SARs of China. There are only two special administrative regions. To integrate them, China's constitution was amended, and a special article was brought under which this special administrative regions could be created, and the full name of Hong Kong is Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, and similarly for Macau. So you can say that they are relatively autonomous. They are not sovereign. They are not completely sovereign, but they are relatively autonomous, but they are a part of China. Okay, you cannot say that they are not a part of China. Now, what kind of autonomy do they have? The answer to this is quite a lot. In fact, they are as good as a nation. In fact, if you only name they are part of China, if you see the amount of autonomy they are as good as an independent country. How come? See, they have their own government. They have multi-party legislatures. So like India, there are various parties and they fight for elections, and there is a legislative body that is completely independent from Chinese government. So in China, you must know that there is a communist government and there is no direct elections. There is a Politburo that is indirectly elected, and there is a different kind of setup. But here the government is a legislative government, and also they have their own legal systems. In fact, the constitution is also separate. Hong Kong has a different constitution, Macau has a different constitution, and the government of China has its own different constitution. The Chinese constitution does not govern Hong Kong and Macau. Okay, they have their different constitution. So imagine how autonomous they are. Then the currency is different, customs, immigration policies. If you want to go and work in Hong Kong for 2 years, the visa will not be given by Beijing. The visa will be given by the government in Hong Kong. Then the sports team, they participate in Olympics under the banner of Hong Kong and Macau and not as part of China. Official language is also different. In Macau, the official languages are Portuguese because it was a Portuguese colony earlier, and the second language is Cantonese. This Cantonese language is spoken in the southern part of China. Okay, the official language of China is Mandarin, but the southern regions of China, they speak Cantonese. And in Hong Kong, the first language is English, obviously, because it was under British rule, and the second is Cantonese. So in schools also, the education system, they teach these two languages. Okay, the medium of instruction is these two, but nowadays they also teach Mandarin as a third language or as a second language sometimes. But in China, the official language of medium of instruction is Mandarin, and they don't teach Portuguese over there. So you can understand it is different. Postal system is different. Also, they have some amount of independence in external relations. How come? Although they are not as independent that China will allow them an embassy, so you won't find an embassy of India in Hong Kong, no, but you will definitely find a consulate. So consulate can be called a mini embassy, it can be called as a branch of an embassy, so you can find consulate. And also Hong Kong opens its trade and cultural offices in different parts of the world. So in New Delhi, you won't find the embassy of Hong Kong, no, there is only one embassy of China, that is the Embassy of People's Republic of China, but there is a Trade and Cultural Office of Hong Kong. Okay, you must remember that similar was the situation for Taiwan, as I told you in my previous video, that this is what Taiwan does. It opens trade and cultural offices or business offices via which it deals and does its foreign relations. So this is the situation with Hong Kong. Okay, so basically, what kind of control does China have? Military control over both these territories. Macau cannot have its own independent army. If there is any requirement, the People's Liberation Army of China, or the PLA, that will come to its rescue. And no embassies, as I told you, only consulates. And another thing is, the world and the United Nations at large, they accept that these are part of China. They don't say that they are not a part of China or they are independent. The status in United Nations is that they are part of China. Now, although if Hong Kong wants to sign a trade deal with India, Beijing won't interfere that much. But tomorrow, if Hong Kong says that we want to sign a defense agreement with India, then no, that cannot be done. Hong Kong cannot buy fighter jets from India or BrahMos missiles from Russia. No, that will not be allowed. That is the prerogative of the Beijing government, that the central government. But you can see, rest apart from that, all kind of local government is under the control of these two regions only. So you can say there is one China, but two kinds of different systems. So the one system is the communist system, the Communist Party government that runs in the entire mainland China, and the other one is the one which runs here in Hong Kong and Macau. So this is what we call one China and two systems. Okay, this is what the official terms that are used by the Chinese government. So why is this so complicated? So for that you need to know a bit of history. See, Macau was a Portuguese colony since the middle of 16th century. So for almost more than 400 years, they were under Portuguese control. Okay, the Portuguese just came and opened a small port, and then they never left for the next 400 years as they did in India and many other places. And Hong Kong was given to Britain by China in 1842. And why was it given? Because they lost the First Opium War. And after that, a Treaty of Nanking was signed, under which this small island of Hong Kong was given. And after that, there was a second Opium War. In this second Opium War, more area around Hong Kong was given to Britain. And finally, in 1898, they signed another treaty in which larger area around Hong Kong and Kowloon was given to Britain, and they said that we will keep these areas for 99 years, and after that we will give it back to you. So there was a lease agreement signed. Okay, they gave it on rent, किराए पे दे दिया उनको. Lease agreement was signed, and they took Hong Kong for lease for 99 years from China. So this is the short history. You might wonder, what is this Opium War? So opium means afim, the plant which is grown in India in quite a large quantity. So it was grown in India and Burma, and it has some properties that lead to addiction, and because of this, addictive properties. It was smuggled to China, and many people in China were addicted to this opium from India. East India Company was one of the largest exporters of this. Also, many other companies and private people used to smuggle this. So all this smuggling was banned by the Emperor of China. Okay, the Emperor of China said had officially banned, and he gave a warning to this East India Company that you should now stop bringing this opium into my area because people are getting addicted and they cannot do any work. But still, the company did not agree, and this led to the first Opium War, and they lost. And the British asked that in future you cannot stop our trade, so for that we need a guarantee from you. We need a place from which we can operate, and we will have our own port, and that was Hong Kong. Okay, so this is the short history, and after that there was another second Opium War and more territory was given to them. So now as these 100 years approach, I told you that 99 years lease was signed. Okay, so by 1984 the British and the Chinese government, they signed a joint declaration, and according to which some special provisions were given to Hong Kong, and its basic nature as a capitalist economy would not be changed, and also the currency, the legal system, legislative system, people's rights and freedoms will be maintained for 50 years. Now, why was this treaty required? See, Hong Kong under 150 years of British rule had become a capitalist economy. It had become one of the leading capitalist areas in the entire Asian region, and the legal system was more of British than Chinese. So imagine Hong Kong had more in common to Britain than it had to China. If you are living in Hong Kong, the law, the education, the schools, colleges, they were more similar to the British than they were to the Chinese. But now suddenly, you imagine for 100 years you are under British rule, and suddenly they say that now you will go under China. And imagine China does not have a very good record on the human rights issue. People in China do not have as much as freedom as other democracies have. So it was much welcomed by the people of Hong Kong. They wanted some assurances. So that is why this declaration was signed, and thus this capitalist economic system and other these rights and freedom issues were given importance, and this is the reason that Hong Kong was allowed to transfer to China. And the important point is these rights are given for 50 years. So again, what will happen in 2047? No one knows. Okay. Another similar agreement was signed with Portugal in 87, and in 1999 Macau was transferred. So 1997 for Hong Kong was transferred from UK to China, and from Portugal Macau was transferred to China. But 2047 and 49, when these 50 years are over, China has not said what will happen. Will they continue this special administrative region, or they will include Hong Kong into China and communist system will be brought over? So it is a big issue. Chinese government refuses to say anything about this, and people again are thinking what will happen after 30 years. So we don't know, and we have to see what happens. Meanwhile, there have been some changes in the legal system, and the small changes, and they were protested by the people of Hong Kong. And one of these protests was Umbrella Revolution in 2014. Okay, why is this called Umbrella Revolution? Because when people came in large numbers to protest, there was rain and they brought umbrellas, and soon the yellow umbrella, it became a symbol of this protest. So these protests happened in September and December of 2014. What was the reason for these protests? See, Hong Kong has an office of chief executive. Okay, this chief executive is the head of government. Now, in 2017, the election for this chief executive is supposed to happen. But in 2014, Chinese government tried to bring in a change. They said that we will pre-screen the candidates who are fighting the election for this chief executive post. So let's say if there are 5 people who want to fight the elections, so there will be a central committee which will be made by the central government of China from Beijing. They will make a committee, and this committee will screen candidates. So they can say that, okay, candidate A is not eligible to fight. Candidate D is not eligible. Only B, C and E can fight. So there is a pre-screening, and these people will not be able to contest for the position of chief executive. Now see, this is not good for democracy. Why? You can imagine if someone is against the policies of central government, obviously he will be screened out in the first stage itself. They will never allow him to fight the elections. They will allow only candidates who are pro-China, who have never uttered the word called independence in their life, because there are some people in Hong Kong, they are saying that Hong Kong should be completely independent from China, although they are a minority, but still there is some fear that such kind of things can happen. So this pre-screening was brought in. Against this, the people of Hong Kong came out in large numbers, especially students, and they protested, but finally China did not agree to change this rule. This rule is still there, but China just informally said that we will consider whatever the people are saying, and we won't pre-screen out anyone just like that. But this was just an informal promise given to them. The rule has not been amended. So in a way, you can say that this umbrella revolution failed in its main objective. So I hope you understood the topic. You can give me feedback in the comments, and also write down which topics do you want me to make videos on. And thank you very much for watching this.